Long ago, in a magical world, there lived a cruel and powerful sorceress named Queen Bavmorda. She ruled her kingdom with fear and dark magic. One day, she was told of a terrible prophecy. A baby girl would be born who would grow up to destroy her. Bavmorda, full of rage and fear, decided to stop the prophecy before it could come true. She ordered that every pregnant woman in her land be locked away, and when the babies were born, they were to be taken from their mothers and killed. Among the prisoners, one woman gave birth to a baby girl with a special birthmark on her arm, the mark of the chosen child. Bavmorda's soldiers prepared to take the baby to the queen, but the mother begged for her daughter's life. She secretly handed the baby to a midwife and begged her to run. The midwife escaped with the child, determined to keep her safe. The queen's soldiers soon chased the midwife, but she ran as far as she could, carrying the tiny child through forests and hills. At last, knowing she could not escape much longer, she placed the baby in a basket and set it afloat down a river, hoping someone kind would find her. The soldiers caught the midwife, but the baby drifted away unharmed. The basket floated down the river until it reached a village of Nelwyns, a small race of people who lived simple, peaceful lives farming and caring for their families. A farmer named Willow Ufgood, who dreamed of one day becoming a sorcerer, discovered the basket with his wife, Kaya, and their children. At first, Willow wanted nothing to do with the baby, but his children were enchanted by her and begged to keep her. Kaya's heart was touched, and she convinced Willow to care for the child until they could decide what to do. Soon after, trouble came to the Nelwyn village. A band of Bavmorda's soldiers passed nearby, searching for the baby. Strange things began to happen, and the village's High Aldwin, the wise old leader, suspected that the child was no ordinary baby. He called a council and asked who had found the baby. Willow stepped forward, nervous but honest. The High Aldwin studied the baby and declared that she must be taken out of the Nelwyn Valley and delivered to the humans, called Daikinis, because the child was their responsibility. Though Willow was afraid, he agreed to take the baby on the dangerous journey. He was joined by a few Nelwyn volunteers, including his loyal friend Migosh. Together, they carried the baby beyond the safety of their village and into the wilds of the human world. Not long into their journey, the Nelwyns stumbled upon a cage hanging by the road. Inside was a ragged, arrogant man who introduced himself as Madmartigan, a once famous swordsman who had fallen on hard times. He begged them to release him, promising to take the baby and care for her. The Nelwyns argued, but Willow did not trust the man. At first, they kept moving, but when they could not decide what else to do, they returned and left the baby with Madmartigan, hoping he would keep his word. However, fate soon intervened. On their way back, Willow and Migosh met a group of fairies and the powerful forest spirit Cherlindrea, who revealed the baby's true identity. Her name was Elora Danan, and she was the child of prophecy destined to defeat Queen Bavmorda. Cherlindrea explained that Willow had been chosen to protect Elora and take her to the sorceress Finraziel, who could help guide her. She gave Willow a magic wand and warned him of the dangers ahead. Realizing the importance of his task, Willow and Migosh rushed back to find Madmartigan and the baby. They caught up with him just in time. At first, Madmartigan seemed unreliable, but he slowly showed courage when danger came. Soon after, they were attacked by Bavmorda's daughter, Sorsha, a fierce warrior leading her mother's army. With her was the terrifying commander General Kyle, a ruthless man in a black skull-like mask. Willow, Madmartigan, Migosh, and Elora barely escaped. During their journey, they also encountered mischievous tiny creatures called Brownies, who tried to steal Elora but eventually agreed to help Willow instead. The Brownies were silly, brave, and often caused chaos, but they stayed loyal to Willow and the baby. As time went on, Madmartigan began to care more deeply for Willow and Elora. Though he had first seemed selfish, he started to act like a true hero. In a twist of fate, He also met Sorcia again, and through a series of magical events and some trickery involving a love potion, he fell in love with her. At first, Sorcia despised him, but she slowly began to question her loyalty to her cruel mother. Finally, Willow and his companions reached the island where Fin Raziel lived. But the sorceress had been cursed by Bavmorda and transformed into an animal. Willow tried to use Cherlindria's wand to change her back, but his magic was not yet strong enough. Still, Raziel encouraged Willow and promised she would teach him magic if they survived. Their adventure grew even more dangerous. Bavmorda's forces captured Elora, and Willow and his friends had to chase after them to save her. In a great battle at a fortress, Madmartigan showed his true skill as a warrior, fighting bravely to protect the baby. Willow tried again to restore Raziel to her human form, and this time, after several mistakes and transformations, he succeeded. Now Raziel, Willow, Madmartigan, and even Sorcia, who had turned against her mother, prepared for the final confrontation with Bavmorda. They stormed the Queen's dark castle, where Bavmorda was preparing a spell to destroy Elora once and for all. The battle was fierce. General Kyle dueled Madmartigan in a brutal fight, and after a long struggle, Madmartigan managed to kill him. Meanwhile, Raziel and Willow confronted Bavmorda in her throne room. The evil queen's magic was powerful, and she mocked Willow for being only a farmer and a poor magician. But Willow, remembering all he had learned, stood his ground. Using cleverness and courage, he tricked Bavmorda into believing he had hidden Elora away with magic. Furious, Bavmorda tried to perform her dark spell, but it backfired. The magic consumed her, and she was destroyed by her own power. The prophecy had come true. With Bavmorda gone, the land was free from her tyranny. The people celebrated, and Elora Danan was safe at last. Raziel promised to raise and protect Elora so she could one day fulfill her destiny as the future empress who would bring peace. Willow, though sad to leave Elora behind, returned to his village. He was no longer the timid farmer who had once doubted himself. He had faced monsters, warriors, sorcery, and fear, and he had proven his courage. The High Alduin welcomed him back proudly. Willow returned to his family, embraced by his wife and children, and he knew that even though he was small in size, he had a big heart and the spirit of a true hero. The story of Willow is about courage, friendship, and believing in yourself. At the beginning, Willow is just a simple farmer who doubts his abilities. But through his love for Elora and his determination to protect her, he grows into a hero. Madmartigan, once a selfish wanderer, also finds his honor again and learns to fight for something greater than himself. Even Sorcia, raised in darkness, discovers love and chooses a new path. Most importantly, Elora Danan, the innocent baby, brings hope to the world. Though she cannot fight or speak, her very existence inspires others to rise up against evil. She is the light in the darkness, and the reason why people who seemed ordinary, like Willow, discover their extraordinary strength.